What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Matt's Mind. We're at episode number 61 of the weekly Q&A series. If you guys have any questions you want to be featured in next week's episode, drop it down below. Make sure you guys subscribe and, of course, drop a like on today's video. We had a lot of awesome questions last week. We covered Crosshair Squad Battle Pack and the next mock going to be Bad Batch here on the channel. So if you haven't caught up, go watch that video. I'll leave a link down below. But let's go ahead and get started into this week's episode. No Name is asking, what is going to be easier to build considering future and current sets, a clone army or Imperial army? This is a great question because we honestly have content from Star Wars that is sort of in the middle, right? We're in that transition period between the Republic and the Empire. I don't think we're going to be getting any Stormtrooper battle packs. I mean, we just did to get the Marauder, the Imperial Troop Transport, which is a pretty good set if you guys like the new Stormtrooper minifigures. It comes with 3 of them, and then the brand new Mortar one, and then also Grief Karga. So that's going to be a pretty cool set. But also, we still do have the AAT and the 501st Battle Pack, and I'm honestly betting that in the winter, we're probably going to be getting 2 Battle Packs, one from The Mandalorian and probably one from Bad Batch. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be a little easier to continue building anything Clone Wars era, especially if you're building up an army or anything like that. I think the winter wave is going to be very heavy on Bad Batch and maybe some Mandalorian, so I definitely think it's going to be a split between the two. If I had to guess, given the current sets and the future ones coming out, I still think that Clone Wars is going to be a little more prevalent in the sets that are going to be currently produced. Lego is asking, how many studio lights do you usually set up when you do reviews? So I actually only have 2. I have one, which is actually the older one. I actually have had this since my crate days when I first started building MOCs. Then I actually have a new one. It's called an aperture light. It's a couple $100. It's one of those more professional studio lights I was able to pick up for a really good price, and I use both of those, and I think my lighting is fairly good here on the channel. The only thing I do want to get is a top-down light for when I do reviews. Whenever I have to do a time-lapse or an unboxing, getting a top-down light might be a little more beneficial, but 2 lights is pretty much all I've ever needed, and it's pretty much worked for me in the past, so yeah. Mr. Moo2Sky is asking, what is a ship you would like to see in UCS from Star Wars? Now, I've answered this question a bunch, and I've always gone with UCS Venator, but I'll change it up. I actually want to see a UCS ARC 170. I've been building different ARC 170 models for a little bit, or I haven't been building, I've been looking at them on Rebrickable and different custom models, and I would love to see like a bigger scale display of an ARC 170. It's a really cool ship. It has a really cool design and a sleek look, so I'd like to see ARC 170. Honestly, a short answer to this is I just want to see more prequel UCS sets, maybe even sequel, maybe even if we can get like the Supremacy or maybe a Resistance Bomber in UCS, that would be super cool to me. But I think if I had to choose one other than Venator, which I've answered a bunch of times, I'd probably say ARC 170. Mike Hill isn't asking a question, but this is actually a great mindset of how to start building your MOCs and stuff. He says, first off, find a set based off of the scene in place and continue to build off the set, or have a centerpiece. And that's actually exactly what I do. With every MOC I build, I like to think of one specific aspect that's going to be the thing. It's going to be the big thing on the MOC, and then everything around that is sort of scaled either down or up to that initial thing. So for example, when I was building an Axis, the first thing I thought of was the main road with the column and all the vehicles, the ATTs, the army. I figured that was going to be the main thing, and then everything else around that, the buildings, the wall, the mountain, that was always scaled sort of a little bit to that main road. So this is a great comment and a great opportunity if you guys are still sort of stuck on how to start building your first MOC. It's pretty much exactly what I do. Jacob Jonas asking, what could be the next LEGO Star Wars art? I personally love the Sith one and plan to pick up at least one, hopefully 3 when there is a good sale. I was really hoping that we could get the original 3, the trio, so Luke, Han, and Leia in a Star Wars art. I think that would be really cool. We got Sith and they look cool. I think it was Darth Maul and Darth Vader, and then there's one more, and Kylo Ren in the set. I personally would like to see the original 3, definitely Han Solo, Luke, and Leia in a Star Wars art. I think that's sort of overdue at this point, being that they're sort of the 3 main characters initially in the original trilogy, so I'd love to see those and get like a cool art of all 3 of them in my room. That'd be cool. Kristen Shen is asking, do you think there'll be a play-scale gunship made with the Imperial logo like in the Bad Batch? So an Imperial gunship is actually on one of my top sets I want to have right now. For some reason, getting the Imperial gunship when it's like completely gray and like some like white and dark and light gray, it looks super cool to me. I actually don't think this is pretty far off. I mean, in the Bad Batch, we've seen the Imperial gunship quite a few times, and there's also a lot of opportunity to get new minifigures with it, of course. So I would honestly not be surprised if this is something that we get. I think getting the Republic gunship at this point is just too late. We've passed the opportunity in the time period in the Star Wars shows that we're in. So I'd love to see an Imperial gunship. I'd really would love to see that. Brickmaster Production is asking, do you now find it a little hard to think we will get LEGO Star Wars exclusive minifigures in sets nowadays, as they mainly come in book exclusives? So, I mean, I kind of disagree. I think that the overwhelming majority of exclusive Star Wars figures we're getting are still coming in sets. I mean, in the books, of course, we had the Finn, I think was the most recent, and the Darth Maul from Solo. But I mean, if you look at the sets that we have in this wave, for example, we're getting an exclusive Bo-Katan, exclusive Gar Saxon, Reef Karga, Fennec, the Mortar Trooper. All the Bad Batch minifigures are completely exclusive. Now, of course, there is the opportunity for those guys to come in another set. I mean, for example, the Ahsoka minifigure, the brand new one, was exclusive to the AAT up until it wasn't in the Mandalore Throne Room Duel. So I definitely understand kind of where you're coming from. I still think the overwhelming majority of minifigures will remain exclusive to sets, but honestly, I'd rather them be exclusive to sets than books. I could care less about books when it comes to LEGO Star Wars, so hopefully they'll still maintain them being in minifigures in sets, at least maybe not exclusive, maybe only like 1 or 2 sets that come with the minifigure. I'd be okay with that. Fast Bricks Productions, what is your favorite brick fair you've ever been to? Without a doubt, 2021. It was an amazing time, and I've always been saying this too, since there was no brick fair last year. I always said that the one we come back to is going to be crazy. It's going to be off the hook, and it truly was. It lived up to my expectations, and I had a great time at the most recent brick fair, and I'm honestly looking forward to the next one in 2022. What are your thoughts on the first season of Bad Batch? Is asking Gabriel Brown. I was personally kind of disappointed with it, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts. So honestly, Bad Batch was like a 50-50 for me. Half the episodes were really good, and half the episodes were kind of just filler, but in my opinion, the filler wasn't like typical boring filler. At least it was something somewhat exciting, and I feel like in some episodes, you at least progressed in some way towards the main objective. It wasn't like you completely went off the rails. I was a little bit disappointed, and I guess there was a lackluster finale to the season 1, but however, there is a season 2, so I think they're pretty much setting up season 2 to be sort of what we're looking for. I was hoping to see a revolt on Kamino or rebellion involving the clones versus the new stormtroopers. However, obviously that's not going to happen, I guess, now. So I was a little bit disappointed by the finale. However, I still think that the show as a whole was pretty decent. I wouldn't say anything overly amazing about it or overly negative. I thought it was just kind of a mediocre show. I think, like I said, there were good episodes, there were bad episodes, and I overall was disappointed in the finale. Jude Brix is asking, have you ever considered starting a LEGO podcast? Yeah, several times. The only thing is I don't want to do an internet podcast. I don't want to have like me, be in New Jersey and then my co-host be in another state and sort of have to use Discord or anything like that. I've been waiting to move out, which plans are in the moves for that. So hopefully next year I'll actually be moving out and get my own place with a roommate. And hopefully my roommate will be down to do a podcast with me. I like to do in-person stuff, over Discord calls and video calls is great, but when you're doing a podcast, you want the conversation to be rich. You want it to be enjoyable and meaningful, somewhat at least, and also comedic and funny. So I feel like being in person is the best way to achieve that, and I don't want to do anything else. So I'm kind of waiting for that opportunity to come. It will definitely come at some point. I just don't have an estimated time on when. Dimos Demoa is asking, what sets do you recommend for new LEGO Star Wars collectors? That's honestly a question I cannot answer. It's just based on what you enjoy. Do you enjoy the Bad Batch show? Did you enjoy the Clone Wars? Or did you enjoy the Mandalorian? Or do you like the original trilogy? Or pretty much whatever Star Wars content you like, look at sets for that. If personally, some of my favorite sets right now, the Mandalorian Starfighter, the Republic Gunship. I do like the Darth Vader Meditation Chamber. I'm a fan of the recent Scout Trooper helmet. So honestly, it depends on what kind of floats your boat for your Star Wars love, and then whatever sort of that tailors to, look at sets for that. Obviously, right now, there's honestly sets that tailor to pretty much everything except sequel fans, because obviously you have the prequels from the Clone Wars, you have the original trilogy with the Imperial Shuttle, the X-Wing, and the TIE Fighter, so there's a lot of cool stuff right now. You kind of just have to look. Star Wars Bricks and Figs is asking, if you could design a set to put a Republic Crosshair in it, what set would you make it? This is a good question, because he was obviously only in his, Bad Batch armor and not necessarily his traitor armor, as I like to call it, in the first episode for only about, 40 minutes or so. If I had to make a set with a Republic Crosshair, I'd probably do one of two things. Either during the First Order 66 scene on the Snow Planet, I think that was a really cool scene, and also if we got maybe another Republic shuttle with Grand Moff Tarkin and a Shock Trooper and maybe even Crosshair, because obviously they meet the squad during that, or maybe even the training one. I think there's a lot of opportunity. However, I don't think we're going to get one now. I think it's way past that point. So unless Crosshair changes in Season 2 and comes back in his Bad Batch armor, which will probably happen, we probably won't be getting a Bad Batch Crosshair figure. Jason's asking, will there be a Brick Fair haul? Unfortunately not. I really honestly didn't buy anything at Brick Fair. I think I bought maybe 2 or 3 sets from the yard sale. There wasn't that much stuff I was interested in, so unfortunately no huge Brick Fair haul this year. Maybe next year though. Clone Brix is asking, which were your favorite mocks at Brick Fair, and what was the best part? Well, the best part was hanging out with my friends, obviously vlogging, doing stupid stuff, and just hanging out, having a good time. The top mocks that I loved were pretty much everything I showcased in my Star Wars. I really only enjoy looking at the Star Wars stuff. I mean, I'll appreciate, you know, like the medieval castles or the military stuff, which I do have a high appreciation for. However, Star Wars for me is just the absolute best. So among the best, obviously, were Jay's Starkiller. We had the Turbo Tank from M5 Builds. We also had Russell's and Axis from LEGO Lord's Workshop. If you guys want to check it out, I'll leave a link down below to my showcase video. Those are pretty much all my favorite mocks from the convention. It was an awesome time seeing all these amazing creations, and honestly, it's very inspiring and motivating to have me get back into it, if that makes sense. So I'm looking forward to starting my next build. On the topic of Brick Fair, SP Brix is asking, do you think it will go to Brick Fair in September? So it's Brick Fair in New Jersey, I believe, at the end of September. Obviously, that's only like 30 minutes from me. I will be going for one of the public days. I'm not going to be going as a registrant or going there early or setting up or anything like that. I will be there for maybe a couple hours on one of the public days. I'll let you guys know. Keep up on my Instagram, and I'll let you guys know. Alrighty, guys, to wrap up this episode of Matt's Mind, I hope you all enjoyed. Drop a like, and if I missed your question, guys, I apologize. Drop it again in the comments section. I'll try to get to it next week. Great questions. These past 2 episodes, I've been having a really good time answering these questions, and it looks like you guys have been enjoying these episodes, which is always great. So, of course, drop a like down below. Make sure you guys subscribe, stay up to date. Make sure you don't miss the next episode coming out every Monday, and we'll see you later. Take it easy. Peace.